I'm Michael Killen, and my guest is Jim Sweeney. He's the head of the Silicon Valley Energy Summit at Stanford, and I'm going to ask him questions about what's going to happen at this year's event, which is on June 21. And in talking to Jim previously and reading some of the documents, I have a feeling the event will deal with some revolutions in transportation, energy, and a few other topics. And revolutions tend to create business opportunities and threats in others. Jim, how are you?
Great. Glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm honored. I always enjoy seeing you, and I always feel so good at your events. I mean, there seems to be a lot of lively people, people with a lot of knowledge, and they often are very, very friendly to me.
And you grace our event with your paintings, and this is one of the few energy conferences that have editorial paintings around the place. Thanks to you, Michael.
Thank you for saying that, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to put my art in your world. And what is the most important topic, or maybe you want to tell me the three most important topics, and then I'll come back to you and I'll ask you some more questions.
There's several themes. One of them is the revolution coming down the road, pun intended, for personal transportation, where we have three things working together: electrification of vehicles, autonomous vehicles, and person mobility as a service. Think Uber or Lyft as that personal mobility as a service. And the three of them are going to be incredibly interacting. What's the implications of that for us? So that's one theme in transportation.
Can I just stay with it?
Yes.
So there's three developments: electric cars, electrification of cars, and autonomous cars, and a couple of other things. And nobody really knows how this is going to shake out.
You bet. That's why we're having the debate, a noontime debate we're calling Cars Against Humanity, resolved. Autonomous vehicles are bad for the environment, the human, the built, and the natural environment. I think we don't know whether autonomous vehicles are going to be good or bad, and therefore Cars Against Humanity is an appropriate theme.
I don't get this cars against humanities. I just don't get it. Can you help me?
I'd be happy to give you a card game afterwards, but we think it's quite possible that with autonomous vehicles coupled with mobility as a personal service, it's going to be very cheap to commute. You're going to give up most of the labor costs of being in the automobile. So you don't have to live close to the work. You can end up living a long ways away. So cars may be really bad for the environment. On the other hand, a lot of people think autonomous vehicles will be good for the environment for people. So we're going to debate that issue.
You said a lot of the labor will be out of driving.
You bet.
And like, I drive every now and then to San Rafael because I make television shows up there also. But I don't see how an autonomous vehicle is going to take, I'm still going to spend the same amount of time in my car.
Well, first, if you take an Uber or Lyft or whatever company has it, now a large fraction of the cost is the compensation of the driver.
Yeah.
Autonomous vehicles, you won't have a driver. It's just the value of the car. So that cost will disappear. You will have your time, but if you don't have to pay attention to the road, you could be playing video games as you went along. You could be, painting probably won't work very well, but you can be reading a book. You don't have to be using your time in the driving. So you got to take the labor time out of driving.
So I might be more productive.
You might be more productive or have better leisure time in your driving.
Okay. And are you looking at the business opportunities for Silicon Valley or for the kinds of people that will come to your event as a result of the trend toward autonomous driving?
We don't know, because we've structured this as a debate. We'll have Oxford-style debate, 2 smart people on each side, and the debate will go where it goes. We've given them the topic. We'll throw up the ball, and they're gonna work on it.
Have you already selected the 2 debaters?
Yes.
You want to tell us?
No.
All right. That's
4 of the 5 people have committed, and the 5th one is trying to decide whether he will commit.
oh, but it's
So
more than 2 people are going to debate this.
2 people on each side, and a moderator. The moderator, Jeff Byron, who many of you know,
I know Jeff.
will be. We call it a moderator, but it's really an immoderator. He will make sure that the debate is immoderated effectively. So that's one part of it. The other thing that we're going to be doing is looking at the governor's goal of 5 million electric vehicles on the road by 2030. And we're asking, is this a myth or is it a reality? And we'll have a group of people, not in a debate format, but are going to be willing to talking about whether this is a myth or reality, and it's really significant for climate change.
Look, you're a world expert on energy trends, and and cars are today more about energy probably than ever before, as the transition from the internal combustion engine now will be no doubt the electric vehicle. What do you think? Is it a myth? 5 million cars?
I don't know. What I do know is that of the carbon dioxide released in the state of California, roughly 40% comes from transportation.
Okay.
40%. If you electrify the vehicles and generate that electricity with clean energy, that's a big deal. I hope we can get there. But what you recognize is that market shares grow slowly. Take, for example, hybrid electric vehicles. They've been on the market 15 years. You know what their market share is now nationwide?
It's great in California and not so good everywhere else.
Nationwide, we're less than 3% market share after 15 years of that new technology.
Yeah.
So can we get up to large market shares of electric vehicles? I don't know, because people have to change their driving habits and their driving patterns. But that will be related to how much people are driving themselves and how much you have autonomous vehicles, many of which will be electrified. So I think right now there's a big set of questions to explore.
And we need the charging stations, because people don't.
The infrastructure matters. We've got to get that in place too.
And I know you watch PG&E and other companies, their promise with respect to expanding the network of charging stations. You're going to cover that topic?
That will all be part of the discussion of what you need to bring them to scale.
Now, do the automobile manufacturers and not just, and all the parts and everything, are they hearing what you're going to be addressing?
They will be part of the conversation, and they will be be on the panel. So I don't know what the answer is, but we're going to hear from people from the state of California, from an NGO, and from an auto company there. Okay. And so we're going to have an exchange from different types of people.
So I like the way you are. You don't take any firm position on anything. Well, I
do on a lot of things,
yeah,
but this
I've
one
noticed.
I truly don't know.
Okay, so this is a good reason to go. And I'm really very interested in the topic myself. As you know, the painting behind here is on the 5 million car goal that the governor has set. What is a second major theme?
The second is new technologies, and we have a whole group of things, sessions that will be involved in commercialization of new technologies. Keynote speaker Cheryl Martin was the Deputy Director of the ARPA-E program responsible for commercialization. She's now at the World Economic Forum. There'll be sessions on new startups and the business opportunities associated with them. We'll have networking of Internet of Things, networking and energy efficiency in buildings. Whole group of things having to do with new technology, new opportunities on energy supply and energy consumption.
Can you tell me one thing, Cheryl, I think.
Cheryl Martin.
When she was working at ARPA-E, commercializing some of the research, development, one example of commercializing something that she...
Well, it wasn't that she commercialized. She worked with all of the investors or all of the researchers to get them developing a commercialization plan and making sure the whole array of ARPA-E projects had integrated within them effective commercialization plans.
Can you quote or cite one thing that came out of ARPA-E lately that is having a positive impact?
Batteries. Much more effective batteries coming out of ARPA-E and smaller. They're working on much smaller transformers that may be for the electrical system that can be much more portable.
Yes.
Wide range of other things that have come out of this whole overall project.
If I'm a venture capitalist in the area thinking about energy, this would be a valuable topic for me because we get to hear from somebody who's been in the area of development, government, and gives us some knowledge.
She should talk. Again, I'm not sure all the things she'll say. That's why we get really smart people and don't tell them what to say. But we'll hear a lot about some of the challenges and opportunities in commercialization of new energy technologies. Then the other thing is Internet of Things. As you know, there's challenges and opportunities there. With cybersecurity problems, the more we link all of our appliances, that we have an Internet of Things, without the appropriate security, the more we have opportunities of shutting down the overall system. But there's a lot of opportunities to have information technology, artificial intelligence, controlling the Internet of Things that allows us to not only use energy more efficiently, but understand when we're going to have problems associated with individual appliances and get them fixed before they break down and afterwards. So there's opportunities and challenges there that we'll hear about.
Throughout a lot of things, artificial intelligence, security, and energy efficiency, appliances, of course, a lot of things. And so that is, did I get it correct?
Those are parts of what we're going to cover. We're going to also be talking about a little focus on microgrids and opportunities for microgrids, and we'll focus on storage technologies, batteries, and their opportunities. Many commercial opportunities here.
Would you just define microgrids?
Microgrid, I'll give you an example rather than definition. Think about Stanford University.
800 buildings?
Where they have 800 buildings, but they have one central electric system, and they have an electric grid that covers their whole campus. they have a substation there that if they were generating themselves, it could be cut off from the grid. So you have the ability to manage the whole electric system within the Stanford campus. Well, you can have that in subsets of the city. You can have it for Microsoft Corporation. So microgrid is not the whole big electric grid, but subsets of it that can be cut off from the rest of it.
For a district, maybe.
For a district, it can be a big microgrid or a little microgrid.
And you talked about Stanford's microgrid, and it could be cut off from the PG&E grid and others. Can it stand alone for a while?
Yeah, there's only a little bit of internal generating capacity that they have, although there's some solar within campus and that you can use that. So it's not right now, they do not have enough generating capacity on the campus in order to cover the overall needs of Stanford. But that's the principle. The microgrid is, if you have the generating capacity, you can do that. Yeah. But basically, you can control your own electricity grid.
Okay. So you're the second person to bring up AI in the context of managing the electrical requirements of a cluster of buildings or one building. NASA said to me they're going to build their own campus in Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. And they said for energy efficiency, cut cost, et cetera, they're going to be using a lot of AI. So, all right, so that's another topic.
So that's in there. Then we have something having to do with current international discussions. I'm looking very much forward to a discussion of NAFTA, the North America Free Trade Agreement. We have the Consul General of Mexico, the Consul General of Canada, and we'll have conversations about what's in it for Silicon Valley. What's the consequences of the trade negotiation that's coming on?
So this is a topic for more of the higher level business executives.
It's higher level business, but it has real implications for agriculture, for automobiles, for Tesla, for storage. It's big strategic.
Okay. And since you have the biggies from Canada and Mexico, are you lobbying, trying to make sure Trump does not do away with NAFTA or modify it in such a way that it's harmful?
I think that destroying NAFTA would be a colossal mistake. Am I lobbying Donald Trump? He is not listening to me. So I think it'd be a colossal mistake because it's been so good for the three nations.
Bigger than Stormy Daniels? It would be a bigger mistake.
It would be a bigger mistake than Stormy Daniels.
Okay. Now, I think you're also going to have speakers talking about the future direction of energy choice.
Yeah.
And the risks and the benefits.
Yeah. It's what most people around here notice, that we've gone into community choice aggregation, whether it's the Peninsula Clean Energy Authority or the Silicon Valley Clean Energy Authority. For many of us now, a retailer of electricity is not just the investor-owned utility of PG&E, but we have a choice if we can get it from community choice aggregation. Well, there's goods, but we need to explore what the risks are at the same time, and those risks are something that we're going to be getting on the table.
All right, on energy choice, to me, it seems like the customers are people who want cleaner energy than you can get from a PG&E or one of the other investor-owned. Is that it?
Somewhat cleaner, somewhat cheaper.
You can get
some just believe that the decision-making at the community level is inherently an important thing to do rather than at the corporate level. And community choice aggregation gives community-level decision-making for at least county level with great inputs from communities. So And then other people at the end like to be able to choose between their suppliers. They don't like to be able to have to say, there's only one supplier, it's PG&E,
Yeah.
I have no choice. It's good to have competition and choice, and,
Sure.
and they're part of that system.
But it's limited, isn't it? You can get more solar or wind, but here in Northern California, distribution is still handled, I believe, by PG&E.
PG&E does the distribution, but the acquisition of the electricity is now a community choice aggregator, if that's your customer, and they're marketing it to you or selling it to at the retail level. So you're buying the electricity from a community choice aggregator or PG&E. PG&E will deliver it to you, and you don't have a choice of that.
Okay, so it's June 21.
June 21.
And Stanford University.
Oh yeah, I got Alumni Center.
And you have exhibitors?
We will have about a dozen sponsors, and almost all of them will have a booth and with some exhibits.
And 400 people?
If we end up at 400, we're going to have to shut off registration because the fire marshal says no more than 400. Yes. So I expect between 350 and 400.
Okay. And I go to your event every year religiously, and I go, one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, I love meeting so many qualified, lovely people, and I learn so much from them. And then, we're almost running out of time, and I want to say you did not mention who will be the most visible person at your event besides you.
Michael Killen.
Yes. I will be in 3 rooms at all times, with paintings like this.
Your paintings will be there, and as one of the things, I think I said at the beginning, is we're the only really serious energy conference that has really serious artwork gracing it, but it's artwork that has a message. It's not just a pretty face. It's really a message.
Thank you. Could we go back here for a minute?
We sure can.
This, my plan, which I'm going to make available 3 paintings of this magnitude, and I hope to give you interpret 3 of California's climate change goals. It's quite an undertaking. I will make at least 2 for sure, and then I'll provide another painting like stormy weather. Okay, this one, by the way, is an interpretation of California's climate change plan, what I call sub-goal number 2, and that is to reduce the use of petroleum in the transportation sector by 50% to 2030. And to me, it's obvious what's going on right now. This is pointing out basically an industry that is on its way out, and it's the internal combustion engine marketplace that uses gasoline or diesel. And this is a force of the people of California and many, many other forces, and it's hitting a car that has an internal combustion engine, and that is just being blown away. The future of oil purchases in California is going to start to decrease, and the skeleton is symbolic of the death, the dying of an industry. And, there are, as you know, people like Scott Pruitt would like to lease land off of California, drill, and what I'm assuming
which would be a real travesty. The risk is really not worth it to drill off the coast, not just of California, most of the West Coast and off of Florida and many other places.
Yeah. I look at it from investors. Yes, they'll drill, they may still drill, and here's a pipeline, and coming out of the pipeline might be a bit of oil, which is going to evolve.
It's ending up in the restroom, I see.
Yes, the money you invest is going to, a lot of it's going to wind up in the toilet.
I hope it's an all-gender restroom that you have here.
Oh, yes, I'm very liberal. And on this painting, you know, this is the tail end of a car with emissions coming out. And when I finish this painting, this black goes around is barbed wire. The emissions are trapping, the red is the heat, and trapping it. And I tend to see California's climate plan as a vehicle, something that a plan that has the mission of cutting the barbed wire, stopping the emissions, and letting the heat out. And as an artist, you know, notice the red is taking your eye that way, and I sort of see California as a big egg, and it's helping to give birth to the electric vehicle.
Okay.
It's helping to give birth in California to the high-speed train, and it's supporting the major trend that's going on. Just like we've gone through the analog to digital, we're still there. It's the electrification of
the electric vehicles that we're going to be talking about in the conference.
And all of these forces are hitting a sponge that represents the oil and diesel, gasoline and diesel, and it's squeezing it out. And so I'm delighted that I have hit on a topic that you're going to be discussing extensively.
It'll be consistent with the goal of some of the conversations. So it's going to be good.
So I will see you on June 21 at the Silicon Valley Energy Summit, and I'm again honored to have an opportunity to be there and to see you and to see a whole bunch of my friends.
And I always enjoy it, Michael.
Great.
Thanks for having me on your program. It's a delight.
Thank you. And will you have one next year?
I don't know at this point. Unfortunately, we have to dissolve the Precourt Energy Efficiency Center. Lack of funds, private philanthropy gave up. And without the center, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it next year. This may be the last one, but I sure hope it won't be.
So ladies and gentlemen, my guest is Jim Sweeney, the head of the Silicon Valley Energy Summit at Stanford. Hope I see you there. And if you come say hello. I always like meeting new people.
Right.
I think we did a good job.
Thank you.